After decades of working with thousands of patients, Carl Jung, one of the most insightful psychologists that Western culture has ever produced, found that every human psyche seems to be seeking the same thing, what he called the individuation process. This is the name that he gave for what most of us would understand as the urge to manifest our highest potential. He used the example of the acorn to express this process. Inside the acorn is an energy that knows what it is meant to be, the mighty oak tree. As the acorn sleeps in the soil, this energy is always working to transform the acorn. Eventually, the seed will break, and the life inside will burst forth. Roots reach down into the dirt. A stem begins to emerge into the light. There may be droughts, fires, or gravel resisting the acorn's growth. But as long as life flows through the plant, it will not stop. Until its last breath, that energy within the acorn seeks to become the oak. Your primary stories, the matrix, make up the shell of the acorn. They protected you when you were young and vulnerable, but hidden inside your matrix is a whisper. This whisper is what the Greeks called the daemon, the Persians called the genius, and what some Christians understand as the soul. It is the force inside you calling you to be who you could be. Your daemon has a single goal, for you to manifest your potential. And like the energy in the acorn, our daemon requires us to break out of the ordinary world. There's a quote from the movie Honey Boy that I love. A seed has to totally destroy itself to become a flower. That's a violent act, honey boy. We all know these whispers. Go to that beautiful woman and ask her name. Start that company that you're always thinking about. Leave this relationship that you know is not for you. Tell that person how you really feel. Pick up that paintbrush. Write that memoir. Go to that city. Leave this job. Live this one precious life fully. And we all know what it is like to say no, to refuse the call. Apathy, pessimism, depression, anxiety, addiction, and bitterness creep into our lives to numb the whispers of our daemon. If you feel these emotions, you are not broken. You are simply an oak tree that's trying to stay an acorn. To answer the call of your daemon is to destroy the acorn. My hypothesis is that the acorn metaphor represents the fundamental game each of our souls is playing, and that to flourish, we have to create stories that help us navigate this game most effectively. That is the goal of my life's work. Creating Cathedral. There's a force inside of the acorn that knows on some level that it's meant to be an oak tree. And that force, to the perspective of the acorn, feels like the most terrifying force that the acorn could know. Because the function of that force is to destroy the acorn. But it's because that force knows that in the acorn, waiting to be made manifest, is an oak tree. Western culture has called this force many names. My favorite name is the daemon. Plato, one of the greatest philosophers of Western culture, told a myth at the end of his great work, The Republic, that is called the myth of And in that myth, there is a great warrior who dies in battle, and the gods saw that he was just, and so they gave him the opportunity to experience what happens after death. And after 9 days, he would be resurrected so that he could tell the story to the living. When he dies, he goes to what's called the middle world. And in the middle world, there's 2 judges. And the judges judge all the souls that enter the middle world on whether or not they have more wisdom they have to acquire. Souls that have more wisdom that they have to acquire are sent down to the lower world. And that's here, that's Earth. And souls that have acquired enough wisdom get to go to the upper world. And that's what they call heaven. Souls that spend too long in the upper world, because there is no suffering, they forget their wisdom. So when they pass through their cycles and they come back to the middle world, the judges see to it that they have to go back to the lower world. And thus is the flux and the flow of souls. Souls that are judged as having to acquire more wisdom, therefore having to go to the lower world, they're sent on a pilgrimage from this middle world throne room to a place where there is a throne embedded inside of a rainbow. And on that throne is the goddess of destiny. And these souls go up to the goddess of destiny to pick out their golden thread, which is their fate. This is the life that they are going to live out to acquire wisdom. But the weight of our fate is too heavy to bring with us to get inside of a body. And so there's a cave underneath this rainbow throne to the river of forgetting. At this river, you drink to forget your fate, but the goddess of destiny gives you a guardian angel that will not get a body, but will go with you. And the Greeks call that the daemon. Your daemon is the part of you that knows what tree you're supposed to be. And there's a quote by H. Almus that best captures the essence of the daemon. Your conflicts, all the difficult things, the problematic situations in your life are not chance or haphazard. They are actually yours. They are specifically yours, designed specifically for you by a part of you that loves you more than anything else. The part of you that loves you more than anything else has created roadblocks to lead you back to yourself. You're not going to get on the right direction unless there is something pricking you in the side, telling you, look here, this way. That part of you loves you so much that it doesn't want you to lose the chance to be who you are. It will go to extreme measures to wake you up. It will make you suffer greatly if you don't listen. What else can it do? That's its purpose, and it loves you. I believe that all the great suffering and trauma and pain of our lives, on varying degrees, are the whispers of our daemon, calling us back to our dharma, which is the expression that we were born to put into the world. and that when a daemon is ignored, it feels like a demon. But when a daemon is listened to, it's felt as a dharma, as grace. What would our life look like if we reclaimed that which we have been taught to call a demon and called it by its true name, our daemon? First, there is a throne room. There are high ceilings, stone-lated walls and floor, with trappings of red and gold, warmed by firelight. Behind the throne rises a massive cathedral-like window, and opposite the throne is a huge opening that allows for a view of the land beyond the castle. On the throne sits the archetype of my king. Perched on his shoulder is a white owl, the totem animal for my inner archetypical magician. To his right and left stand a brown stag with golden antlers, and on the left a lion. These are the two totems that represent my king energy. Nestled on the floor in front of the king, sleeping, is my inner boy, who I call Soul. Wrapped around him is a blue-silver wolf and a night black dog. The wolf is Fenrir. This is the boy's insatiable hunger to learn and to dominate. And the black dog, who I call Rufus, represents my fear, the part of me that is constantly scanning for possible threat and who barks goofily at shadows and the wind. They feel like the primary guardians of my inner boy. To the left stands my inner warrior, Samson. He is a kind of Dothraki-looking man who holds a flaming sword. When he is in his sacred expression, he is the boundary enforcer, the part that sits in the ice bath for 4 minutes, that pushes through the last set of a workout, and is the part that expresses clean anger. In his shadow expression, he is the destroyer of relationships, the foolish competitor, and the spokesperson of my arrogance. To my king's right is my magician. I haven't discovered his name yet, and I don't know what he looks like. He is hooded and dressed like a Celtic druid, but has an air of Egyptian magic to him. I don't know him well, yet. Dancing before this little band of archetypes is my inner lover, a celestial feeling woman in a golden dress that I call Evie. And she's dancing. She is always dancing. She is the part of me that sees God in everything, that brings me to tears at sunsets and from poetry. She is the part of me that loves deeply the surrender of a woman's body, and also the surrender of my ego to the psychedelic experience. She is my intuition, my passion, and my connection to nature. Out beyond the window is a great grassy plain. On the left is a huge Gothic cathedral with hints of purple in the stone and in the window pane. This represents my company, Cathedra. To the far right is a road that leads to the horizon, and this is the path that I take when I travel out beyond my inner world and step into the shared hallucination that we call reality. And in the middle of this field, between Cathedra and the path out, sits the representation of my soul. In the center of my inner landscape breathes a huge circular garden labyrinth. In the center of the labyrinth is a grand, gold-tinted oak tree that I call Yggdrasil. And wrapped around the labyrinth is a massive snake that represents ayahuasca. As I begin visualizing all of this, I see the snake begin to stir. The million-scaled creature slowly awakens and bristles. And this begins to create a low, powerful hum that can be heard from the throne room and felt through the concrete. Thus beckons the call of ayahuasca. I see my king stand, take off his crown and clothing, and begin to walk out of the castle towards the labyrinth. All my parts are at the window, and they bear witness as the king steps over the slithering, awakened snake and into the darkness of the labyrinth. As I see my king walk into the labyrinth, I say a prayer. I ask my psyche to please deliver me a dream to help me understand what kind of energy to bring to my second week dancing with Mother Ayahuasca. My prayer was answered.